Okay. So what I'm looking for is actually bearishness today, which I was hoping wouldn't be the case, but it is. The reason I'm looking for bearishness, okay. Number one, longer term on the weekly. Now on the monthly, I am right now bullish because we haven't broken any structure, haven't disrespected any order flow. But on the weekly, we have, and this is not healthy. I don't like that, how we created support there. I also, we haven't broken any structure to the upside on the daily that would maybe tell us that we're not going to be bearish anymore. We're still inside this daily trading range here. We're sweeping internal range liquidity to come for external range liquidity right now. If I go to the 4 hour, you can see it even better, right? We're sweeping liquidity. We actually swept here and we swept here as well. 2 sweeps inside of a premium, inside of a daily fair value gap. Go to the 1 hour. You can see that second sweep better, right? Now, the only concern for me is, like the manipulation, that sweep is happening before market open. Typically, I like to see the manipulation happen at 9:30, and then I enter. Reverse of that. But the manipulation has already happened, so what I would assume is going to happen at market open is we're just going to dump. And I'm willing to get in off of a fair value gap because we already swept. All it needs to do is dump for me at this point, and I can get in off a fair value gap or an inverse fair value gap, and I'll target maybe this would be my target, something like that, or like this. Those would be my 2 targets there. So Yo, what's good, man? Good to see you back. Hope everything's going well. Yeah, I saw that. I'll probably watch the recording later. Um, gonna see what the market does here first. Is he trading the market live, or is he just going over? Is he just kind of working the mentorship? Mentorship. Okay. I was just curious. I wanted to know if he was bullish or bearish. Not that it really matters to me, but I'm curious to see if we have the same bias. But just that one. I didn't trade anything in the PM session, so just that one. Oh, sorry. I was thinking of Wednesday. Yesterday, no, I wasn't at the charts yesterday. I was visiting my younger brother's college, so wasn't at the charts. How about you? Did you take any trades? Nice. A short. Interesting. The market was pretty bullish yesterday, but that's cool that you were able to net some profit on a short. I probably would have had the same bias going into the day yesterday. I probably just wouldn't have taken a trade, considering it looks like we were just bullish the whole day. But if you were able to net some profit, that's awesome. I was looking for the market to kind of dump actually right as we opened, because we kind of already did the job that I was like, the manipulation aspect of it. We swept the 4 hour, which was internal range liquidity of this daily range here. And then we also swept this high as well. So we kind of did the job. Like, I was just looking for some distribution lower, and I might have gotten in off of like a fair value gap once market opened. But I mean, I'm gonna give the market, I'll give price a little bit more time. Nice, yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, to have the foresight that you're bullish on the day, but being able to, I guess, manage your risk there, taking profits early or scalping is important on a day where you probably are trading against the trend, which is nice. I just genuinely, I'm okay with missing a trade. Like, if I don't think it's going to be an A+ setup, I won't enter on it. Like, I genuinely, and I've backtesting helps so much, right? Like, I know what to look for. So if I don't see that, I just won't enter. And if it goes in my direction regardless, I'm okay with, not having entered, because I know that, just based off of my back testing, I'll be able to find, 1 to 2 trades a week that are A+, and I could be profitable just off of that. So, that's really just, not having FOMO and just cutting out emotions, right? It just comes with a lot of time, I guess, on the charts and and with back testing. But yeah, when I was, and obviously still am learning, but I thought psychology was something that could be taught, and it really isn't. Like, you just have to, it can't be taught. I thought I could watch psychology videos and like kind of figure out like what I should think, but you just have to kind of begin executing, begin watching price live, and then build up your mental from there. How many trades do you find yourself taking a week? I mean, it really depends on your strategy, right? I know on Wednesday you said you'd trade the 2022 model, but if you're looking for scalps too, you might find yourself in more trades than me. I'm really only looking for intraday. just sitting within this range right now. Hoping it breaks to the downside. I don't really feel a need for us to continue higher and sweep this high, right? Like I said, I think price has already done its job sweeping buy side, so I'm hoping we go lower here. Otherwise, we'll probably just continue ranging. If we take this high, like I just think we probably continue higher. Like I don't see a need again for us to go like this, in my opinion. Getting 3 to 4 trades a week. I mean, look, that's not. Is that including like, I don't know if you pyramid or anything like that. I don't pyramid. One day perhaps, but I'm not at that level yet where I'm comfortable entering on a winner, entering again on a limit on a winner. But I mean, 3 to 4 trades that's disciplined. You know, there's people trading, 10 times a day. So, but yeah, like realistically 2 trades a week is all you need if you're, you have to think long term, right? So that compounds and you're on your way. Yeah. I'm hoping to get to that level one day. I mean, that's I haven't even truly back tested pyramiding, to be honest. But right, exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? It took. If we are going to be bearish today, right? I mean, who knows, right? We could end up bullish. I get the bias wrong. It happens. But if we are going to be bearish today, I'm assuming we did the job as far as manipulation goes. So we either keep ranging the rest of the day, or you break me down to the downside, and potentially I can get in off of a fair value gap. But we shall see. No, I have a job as well. I'm still in college, but I have a summer job. So I'm still a student. Hoping, obviously, eventually to make this a full-time career, but as of right now, it is not. How about you? Yeah, I mean, until you make this, I mean, in the summer it can be a bit tougher because like my summer job, it's not like I can do anything online. Like I have to go in to work, um, so that makes it a bit tough. Um, as a student, I just make sure like during the school year that I'll I'll make my classes in the more in the afternoon, so I'm able to trade the AM session and um, you know, I might struggle trading PM, but I'm normally entering off the AM session anyway, so I made sure that I didn't schedule any classes from 9:30 to noon, so it's a little bit easier as a student. But managing time, having a full time job year round is definitely going to be a challenge. Yeah, I assume that's what you do now. So how how difficult do you find it? Because I will probably have to be doing that next year after I graduate. I am 23. So I'll be graduating this year a little late, but I just took 2 gap years, so that is why. Ah, so okay, I see how you make it work. It's definitely a long day, but I guess it's good that you can make it work with your time zone there. Yeah, it's tough in the U.S., man. Like you'll start a job at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and and some markets opening, and it could be tough. So, um, SMT with ES. Yeah, right here, this high getting taken on ES. For sure, for sure. Just waiting on some distribution here, and then we'll see if. But you see the 1 minute, there's nothing. It's very choppy going down here, so we're just patiently waiting. Yeah, it's very ugly. Let's see actually ES just out of curiosity. I mean, still somewhat choppy, but I guess a little bit cleaner than NASDAQ here. We didn't even leave a fair value gap up here. But we will wait. We sit on our hands till we see something. It's also a Friday too. We made some some heavy moves this week, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did just kind of, you know, consolidate the rest of the day here, or at the very least, like, have some slow moves, because, you know, we've had some pretty hectic. I mean, this was Monday. All these candles are fairly hectic, right? Oh yeah, it's absurd. It's absurd. I mean, yeah, it's absurd. I don't know how. I don't know how either, man. I'm just glad he did. I assume just a complete obsession with trying to figure this out, right? And you have to have a certain mind for it too. If you're going to be the one developing these patterns, or not patterns, but you know, YM. So do you trade all the indexes, or do you just look at them for confluence? Specifically YM, because I don't think I'd ever trade this. But yeah, no, YM's actually moving, you know, after, like, that's what we're hoping NASDAQ does here. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's possible for NQ to start moving like YM here. I like how, you know, we're building up these kind of choppy lows here. I like that. Like these higher lows that are definitely going to get taken. I think it's only a matter of time. But again, just being patient, waiting for that distribution. I mean, market needs to show some intent of wanting to go lower here, and right now it's not doing that. It definitely looks like it's setting up to do that, but we'll have to wait and see. Do I always short above 8:30 opening? Ideally it's above 8:30 opening, right? And then even more ideally, which I didn't even check, this isn't something I really truly, it won't make or break a trade for me, but ideally we're actually above midnight, right? Midnight opening, or the midnight candle there. But yeah, at the very least, ideally below 8:30 or above 8:30 opening. Sorry, if I'm shorting. So above midnight, hopefully. At the very least, above 8:30 would be nice. But again, not something that really makes or breaks my trades. Just some extra confluence, but. It's kind of like discount and premium. Like, some people they'll get too caught up in it. They'll like they'll be on the daily time frame, especially on Nasdaq, because it's it always is. It's normally bullish, right? And it normally is going to new all-time highs, and people will sit there and they'll be like, oh, we're in a premium on the daily. I can't buy here, so I just try not to get caught up in that. Like, you can buy in a premium, you can sell in a discount, right? It's just, ideally, when we sweep something, we're sweeping into a discount if we're buying, and we're sweeping into a premium if we're selling, right? But that's in an ideal world. It doesn't necessarily have to happen. So I apply that same mentality to the 8:30 opening price and midnight candle. Quite a lot, actually, quite a lot. I am in New Jersey, so taxes are rough. It's a pretty expensive place to live in the United States. But United States is a big place. I could go to a different state depending on how much I'm making and do well. So, but yeah, I mean, the dollar definitely does not go as far as it used to. If you watch ICT enough, he's always talking about doomsday, right? Something happening. Where me and him disagree is on Bitcoin. You probably see it on the other tab I have open. You're going to disagree on things. I agree with him wholeheartedly when it comes to anything trading related, but his the research I've done on Bitcoin and maybe the research he's done on Bitcoin has led him in a different direction, or lack thereof of research, I don't know. But again, like, I just don't, the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to, and neither does, any other currency, right? Because it's king dollar, so. But yeah, I also think it's important to see trading as like a kind of an outlet to other things, right? Like other investment opportunities, right? Like, if you're trading for a living and you're not putting some of the money you're making into, other passive income investments, like, you're doing it wrong, in my opinion. So, trading should not be your only income. Like, right now, like, what you're doing is completely the right way of going about things. Like, you're working in a job and you're doing this on the side, and one day, hopefully, this could be your full-time thing. But until you're making enough money, it can't be your sole income, right? Once you become too reliant on it and you need it for your everyday costs of living, then it becomes psychologically draining, right? Yeah, it could be so stressful, especially, again, like, if you don't have another way of making money, right? So that's why even when you do become full-time trader, it's important to have other ways of making money, like whether it's real estate investments or whatever else it could possibly be. But trading really should never be your it could be your primary source, but it should never be your only source of income. Okay. Okay. Yeah, with stocks, I mostly just I'll just invest long term with it, but that's swing trading, like as in you're holding for a few months, or you're holding for a few weeks, or maybe a bit of a combination. Okay, we're starting to potentially make a move here. Let's see. My only months, yeah, okay. That's what I figured, but okay, gotcha. I assume using the same concepts you use trading, or 2022 model, or you only buy them. That is very, I would say that is the correct way to go about it, considering stocks seem to only go up. But again, that's a direct result of the dollar doing poorly in comparison to, every other asset class. So in the long term, it should be going higher, yeah. Okay, all right, cool. Using retail and SMC, cool. This is just so choppy here. Like you could call this distribution here. We're entering a fair value gap on the 1 minute, but it's just in terms of A+ setups. I don't believe this is one of them. I need to see some further distribution and some real intent to go lower. Like, yeah, it definitely should not go. I mean, again, in my opinion, I would be very surprised if today ended up being bullish. I think we're either going lower or we're just going to continue to range the rest of the day because, like I said earlier, it has been a pretty volatile week. So, and it's Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of did just take our foot off the gas here going into the weekend. So that's why we have to be careful. But lower or range is where my head's at. And yep, next week's CPI. This week was light on the news, aside from unprecedented stuff like the yen or Bank of Japan just creating some volatility. But yeah, no. Aside from that, this week was light. Next week we have CPI. Anything else? And we have CPI retail sales. I don't give too much attention to that. I mean, I expect some movement off of it, but As of right now, though, I still don't trade like heavy news days. So like CPI will be a day I'll just sit and watch. Like I'll paper trade it, but I'm not going to take anything on my funded. I am going to back test and just see, because last week on NFP and FOMC, I caught 2 winning trades, paper trades, but 2 winning trades using the model. I just waited until after the news was released. So I'm going to start backtesting that to see how comfortable I am trading news days. If I trade after, obviously not before, but after heavy news related events. But right now, I don't feel comfortable, so I'll just be on the sidelines, paper trading potentially if I see something. But yeah, so next week on, what day is CPI? Next week on Wednesday, I will just be sitting on my hands. Also, next week's gonna be tough with work. I don't know how often I'll really be at the charts. But then I will be able to, I'm going back to school soon, so you typically will be live and on the charts. Beginning like late August, early September. Do you trade news events at all or no? Like the big 3, like CPI, NFP, or FOMC? Yeah, CPI can kill. For sure. They all can, man. NFP can be crazy sometimes too. It's really just, it depends, right? Like, I think it was ICT that said this. It could have been someone else, but I think it was ICT. He was talking about how, like, and I remember it too, like 2022, like post-COVID, CPI was like a big deal. So you'd get these crazy moves with CPI, like crazy moves. And then it kind of like became NFP making crazy moves. And CPI was a little bit more lethargic. So it's all dependent, but typically I'm trying to avoid those days. Although, again, like I said, I'm going to, see how profitable it could be with through like back testing and seeing like how consistent it can be, right? After the news gets released, right? So like, for instance, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, news is getting released for CPI. When I won't trade regardless of the news. I won't trade before 9:30 open. So I'm waiting anyway. So 9:30 open, if at that point, like, there's a model I see that CPI might have created, then I'll get in. What I also noticed is, I don't know if you follow Dodgy on, his name's I think it's Dodgy DD or something on Twitter. He is one of those, like, popular ICT students. And he was showing how he was marking data highs. So, like, let's say this was the high that maybe NFP made at 8:30, and then price kind of dipped lower, and then at 9:30 it was here, right? And we got our model, like, we swept or whatever. The data high is like a giant magnet for price to come back to on every news event, CPI, FOMC, NFP. And I noticed it last week. It happened very cleanly, specifically on NFP. So that's something to take note of too, of just how much of a magnet it can be if the setup's there, like that previous high or low that the news made. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. Let me try to find it because I took a paper trade on it last week. NFP. Where am I looking? This is Monday. Thursday. Was it this? I can't remember. Gotta look. Checking my channel here. I know I uploaded it. Oh, I see what I did. Okay, so actually what I did was I took this sell here for NFP last week on a, again, paper trading account. So basically what happened was this NFP left this high here, right? So this would have been the data high, right, at 8:30. And again, like it was a magnet after that for price to come to. And once we took that, I was already bearish, so like my bias is bearish or whatnot. So then I took the sell from there. But those data highs, man, something to, I'm gonna start back testing and seeing how I can play with them. But this right here, price is not giving us much to work with. Interested to see what it does the rest of the day here. I have to be somewhere at 11:30 Eastern, so I can only give price so much more time to give me my entry. These lows here, we left more liquidity to come for. Do we range? Do we go high? Do we really go higher here? I mean, that would be, you know, we're human. We're human. We can get the bias wrong sometimes, right? But you know, I'm perfectly fine with getting the bias wrong as long as I'm not losing money on it, right? But we shall see. Could just be a, I mean, look at that daily candle right now, right? It's just a complete doji, which is something that I could see us just closing as today, to be honest. Still early in the day to call the close, but I could see us doing that. Days like today are good, man. It just builds patience. It builds patience. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Whenever I have a bearish bias, I'm hoping I'm hoping deep down inside that I'm wrong, just so we can go higher for the stocks. I'm in full agreement with you. I love when my bias is bullish. Then I'm like, yes, it's gonna be a good day. Could this be a potential fake out for like imagine you're just going into, you just learned the 2022 model, and you're seeing a sweep here, and you're seeing some distribution. Let's see if the 5-minute gives like a fair value gap. Like for instance, like someone might get in off of this depending on how this candle closes. You know, like let's say it closes like something like that, right? Someone gets in here, right? Below the low or below the fair value gap low. Target something like this. And then they get stopped out and they wonder why. Well, you're going against the bias here. Like, we are bearish. Could you get lucky and the bias is wrong? Sure. But you're trading against a higher time frame bearish fair value gap. So that's why I find it comical when people say, oh, the model doesn't work. Oh, you know. No, it does work. You're the one that doesn't work. Scalp here, right? Not something I'm taking, but definitely a nice potential scalp here. We haven't broke structure. Oh, we did technically. Actually, this is a blue candlestick, right? Take it off of this fair value gap or this inverse fair value gap. They're literally the same actually, as far as an entry point. I would have my stop above here, and I would be targeting the low. But I'm not scalping. That's a solid entry though, if you are. If you were to. Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Like, we're in a range. Dude, in my opinion, we're still bearish, but for us to come back to here, just in my opinion, wouldn't make too much sense. Let's see if this imaginary trade plays out in our favor. Nice scalp in line with our bias. For this particular like pretend scalp, you're saying, or just in general? I wouldn't really say there's SMT, right? It's just, it kind of did the same thing. They both swept. So, I guess confluence there, right? Both doing the same thing. Partials right here, maybe. Right, if you were in this, and then just if you wanted to break even at partials, put the and then the rest of the trade just let play out. That's how I would manage it if I was actually in this trade. It should, and what would be really cool about this trade too, if it did play out, is remember how I was mentioning people that potentially might trade the 2022 model without a bias, right? They would be my liquidity at this point if they were really buying from you know, sweep, 5-minute, you know, some fair value gap in here off the distribution. So, but let's see. The reason I didn't take this live was just because it's more of a scalp, and I typically look for the model to be set up on like the 15-minute time frame. This is like my ideal setup, right? So that's why I like this sweep here, but I needed, you know, it happened a little bit too early. If this sweep would have happened at 9:30, golden. But the model can be found on any time frame, to be fair. Now, when you say SMT, like, would you prefer that YM? Because they both took the high, right? They both took the high there. So you're saying you prefer one of them not to? Because again, like, I don't use SMT that much in my analysis, but you're saying it would actually be a better. It would be better if one of them hadn't taken the high. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I It's getting closer and closer to my partial, or where I would take partials if I was in it. Okay, partials taken. And yeah, stop loss would be break even at this point because I really don't see a need for us to go any higher. Right, there's no like fair value gap that would make sense or anything like that. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is how disciplined I try to be. Like I can see the model take place on like a lower time frame but I'm just not comfortable scalping because that's not what I've back tested. Like I've back tested more intraday stuff, like the 15-minute, like finding a model in the 15-minute and letting that play. So just because I haven't scalped enough, I wasn't comfortable taking this trade like with a 1-minute sweep. I mean, I guess technically you can argue you got your 15-minute sweep here, but because we were in like a higher time frame range for that 15-minute sweep, I wasn't comfortable with it. Like it just didn't seem A+ to me, but nice to see that it's playing out regardless. I like the equal lows here. My partial profit was essentially, right, would have been like the conservative, like the low underneath equilibrium. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you would have preferred something, right, as far as SMT. I would have preferred this setup on like a higher time frame. So, it is what it is, right? That's why there's always another setup, right? And yeah. But regardless, like you said, it's nice to see that it's playing out the way we wanted. Another thing I've noticed, and I saw somewhere on Twitter that ICT said this in his new mentorship, where any of his PD arrays, fair value gap, order block, whatever, they can be inversed. And I know we had this fair value gap anyway, so you could enter off of that. But this being an inverse fair value gap too, just gave that extra confirmation that we should respect this level. And I actually would not have gotten in this trade, or I wouldn't have even said that this was a good trade to potentially be in if this wasn't a blue candle. So like technically we had to break a structure because that candle closed blue. So we got our break of structure plus everything else we needed. This is an order block here, like technically this whole thing. But price touches this, like if I depending on how many contracts I had left, I take, let's say I had 2 more contracts, 1 contract here, and then let the rest run. That might be what I would do. Off the lows here, you're saying? I mean, could it come up and smack break even to this point and then go lower? Sure. But I really do think, I mean, this is a magnet. This is definitely a magnet. For multiple reasons, right? It's a magnet for retail because we got support. But it's also a magnet for any maybe new ICT traders that thought this again was a 2022 model. For some reason put their stop underneath the low. Right. Yeah, I am on X. I'm not too active on there. The only other social media I'm like really active on is TikTok. Like I'll just post like my trades on there, but my X is just at trades by Jake as well. Got you with the follow back, bro. Hopefully we get a nice reaction off of this 5-minute fair value gap here, if that's what it's reaching towards. I like how we left equal lows here. Regardless though, this would have been a winning trade had we entered. Yeah, man, there's so many steps to being a profitable trader, and like staying disciplined, and trade management is one of them. Like, had we been in this, we completely de-risked it at this point. Protected our capital. Oh, TikTok's banned? Where are you from, man? It's probably going to be banned in the US soon anyway, too, but... Oh, okay, they got it banned there. That's... Yeah, don't worry, man. It'll probably be banned in the US too soon. There was talks about it like a year or two ago, and I don't know what the final verdict is, but... Just ranging now on the 1 minute, just ranging, come on. We swept, we respected that 5-minute fair value gap. Time to push lower. Oh, technically we haven't respected it yet, this candle has to close, but assuming it closes around where it's at now, it would have respected it. can only act as support so many times, right? Come on. Come on. Exactly. It is retail stuff. On both the 1 minute here and the 15-minute, we have this support getting created. Tons of stop losses underneath. So realistically, we should end up going lower, but we will see. Could come for my break even before that, but all good. Look at this daily candle still, man. We'll see where the rest of the day ends up, but I was predicting either going lower or just a range, and that makes the daily candle a doji. And that's where we're at right now, so. Yeah. Still, regardless, this would have been like a decent trade to enter in off of if I was comfortable scalping. Would have made some money, but all good. I gotta be out of here in 15 minutes, so hopefully it does something, pushes somewhere before that, whether it's my break even or my take profit, just to see where this plays out. But yeah, it really does, really does. Again, I'm just concerned with like how reluctant it's being. Like it's done the job twice now, here and now here, and it's still kind of in this higher time frame range. So that's why I would just be very careful if you were going to enter into anything to target this. As much as I do believe it will get taken, price is just, a little choppy right now, a little reluctant to kind of go anywhere. But it definitely is building support levels, which should indicate us going lower. But yeah, looks like it would be this would have been a partial profit trade, which is a-okay with me. Just tap my break even. Come on. Stop leaving me in suspense. All right, there we go. There we go. So it would have been partial profit trade. Not too shabby. All right, guys, I'm gonna head on out here. I appreciate anyone viewing right now, and thank you again, man, for being active in chat. Hope the rest of your trading day goes well here. And have a good night, man. Have a good night.